Howdy, y'all. The Big D is ready to rumble as I recap Week 12 of the 2024 NFL season. Does it mean Saquon Barkley scoring another touchdown, getting the MVP? We are done with the Niners? Well, I'm going to answer all those questions and then some. Tonight, check us out on the Spunky Spectrum Sports and Driving to the Top Productions YouTube page. Also, you can check me out on my Facebook and Twitch pages. We greatly appreciate you on this pre-Thanksgiving edition tonight. Also, check me out, Spotify and Apple hosting the Big D podcast. So, some scores look more some games look more dominant than the final scores indicated, and that's exactly what happened during last night's Eagles-Rams game. Philly dominated the Rams 37-20. Didn't even look that close. But frankly, I think we've got to put Saquon Barkley in the MVP race, and potentially number one. I mean, you could argue Saquon Barkley or Josh Allen's the MVP leader in the clubhouse because Saquon Barkley was a man amongst boys. With two 70-plus yard touchdowns, including one that sealed it for the Eagles. I mean, in a game that, honestly, even though LA led in the second quarter, never really felt close. I mean, a game that Philly just dominated the line of scrimmage, which is hard to do against a really good Rams defensive front, but Philly just controlled both lines of scrimmage, doing whatever they could, opening up big alleys for Saquon, showing his speed, spin move, creativity, and everything else. So, started Jake Elliott kicking a field goal, which has been a rarity for the Eagles lately. Then Kyren Williams, despite a fumble, scoring the first quarter touchdown. And then after another Jake Elliott field goal, the Eagles really got things going. Jalen Hurts finding A.J. Brown, making 13-7 at the break. And then literally first play of the second half, Saquon Barkley goes 70 yards, touchdown. And then DeMarcus Robinson scored, making it 2014. Kenneth Gainwell scores. And then Elliott kicking a field goal. And then Saquon Barkley all but ended with a 72-yard touchdown. And then Cooper Kupp scoring a garbage time touchdown unless you're in a guillotine or eliminate him. By the way, Philadelphia Eagles have been around for a long time. How about this stat? Saquon Barkley set the Philly franchise record with 255 rushing yards yesterday. 255. 142 came on two 70-plus yard touchdowns. One ended up with 302 yards of total offense. Not a bad afternoon. That'd be, 44 points if it's half point, 46 points if it's full point, and two touchdowns. Yeah, not a bad afternoon for Saquon. I mean, Saquon Barkley was the number 2 pick for a reason, and last night, I think we saw quite possibly the NFL's best running back this year. I mean, nobody offers that kind of speed, power, spin move, and balance. I mean, and I know everyone, and I even questioned the Eagles signing Saquon Barkley. I'm like, did Saquon Barkley lose his step? Is he going to be this effective in New York, in Philly compared to New York? This is the best I've ever seen Saquon Barkley look. And other than the Lions, Eagles probably have the best offensive line in football, and it showed last time. They opened massive holes for Barkley. And we've seen Saquon get stronger throughout the game, and get big runs. get mass run. Sometimes the defense hangs in the game, and all of a sudden, one big run, and then the game's over. And that's what happened with Saquon. Because you look at Jalen Hurts last night, he didn't really do much. I mean, he threw the ball 22 times, ran it 12 times. The Eagles ran the ball 45 times for 314 yards. 80% of it came from Saquon Barkley. So I think we know what Saquon does. And with Saquon now, not only do the Eagles have a really good quarterback, the NFL's best tailback, two freaky receivers when they're healthy, and a dependable tight end, Dallas Goedert. Oh yeah, they've got a great offensive line. It's like, how did the Eagles do it? Is Howie Roseman play a game of chess while everybody else is playing like Tech 4? Like, how do the Eagles cap guys figure out like this guy costs this much, this guy costs this much? I mean, you imagine if Joe Burrow or could have like the Eagles cap guy and they have Mixon, Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, a healthy offensive line. But that's the story here and there. I mean, I said last week there were 3 teams in the Super Bowl bubble. I think we could add the Eagles in. And me, I mean, Nick Sirianni scares me as a coach, but this team's more capable of going on the road or heck, hosting an NFC Championship game. And I mean, the Eagles were just in a Super Bowl a couple years ago and could end up with one because dominant line play travels in January. And that's what the Eagles can do. And frankly, I know we haven't seen running backs win MVP since Adrian Peterson. I mean, Christian McCaffrey didn't. Saquon might be. If Saquon comes close and that breaks the NFL rushing or total yard record, he's definitely in the MVP race. I mean, Josh Allen's probably the leader in the clubhouse. But if Saquon rushes for 2,100 and something yards, he's got a great case. And by the way, the Giants, Titans, and Las Vegas Raiders should be ashamed of letting their superstar running backs leave. Because those 3 teams are 7-26, and that's what the Titans winning in Houston. The Packers, Eagles, and Ravens are a combined 24-9 going into tonight's Monday night game between the Ravens and Chargers. So you can add the right team can add a 20-something, 30-year-old running back and still be good. And frankly, with Saquon, I'm befuddled that the Giants let him leave because this guy was destined to wear the blue and white. He could have been, Tiki Balbo, Monty Tuba. Instead, he's playing for the giant old rival. And when you look at Philly, after this weekend against game in Baltimore, the Eagles closed with 4 out of 5 at home. And the only 2 road trips are Baltimore and Landover. So they don't even need a plane. They could take a bus or a train to the Beltway. And for the Rams, I've got issues with the Rams. I mean, Matthew Stafford was under duress a lot last night. He was sacked 5 times, hit many other times. Yeah, Puka and Cooper Cup were great. I mean, Kyron Williams, when he's not fumbling, is really good. But the Rams need multiple linemen in a hurry. And it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. It doesn't matter how good your coach is. If you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to win. I mean, the NFC West feels wide open right now because Seattle's leading 6-5, and nobody else. I mean, nobody's better than 6-5. Nobody's worse than 5-6. So somebody's going to end up getting a home playoff game in this crappy division. I mean, the Eagles 9-2. They have some tough games. I want to see them play in Baltimore and then Pittsburgh in a few weeks. But this Eagle team could end up in New Orleans. And I don't mean playing the Saints. I mean the Super Bowl. And hopefully better than Super Bowl 15 against the Raiders. Mhm. Ron Jolski. Frankly, maybe the craziest game of the day was the Vikings Bears thriller in Chicago, where Chicago won 30, I mean, excuse me, Minnesota won 30-27. I mean, Donald banged up, but came back in the game and then led the Vikings on a game-winning overtime drive. I mean, but start from Minnesota. Sam Darnold showed his stuff despite getting knocked out of the game earlier. Came back, responded well. Aaron Jones. I mean, Minnesota doesn't score rushing touchdowns in the second half. Well, Aaron Jones took care of that. And you know, the Vikings won. Justin Jefferson only called 2 passes. I mean, it was all DJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison. Both guys combined 15 for 276 and a touchdown. But I love watching Minnesota play. They can run the ball, throw the ball. I mean, the offensive line's not the best without Darius Shaw anymore, but Sam Darnold's the gamer. And Minnesota just grinding and grinding and grinding. And despite giving up a late lead, the onside, they kept fighting and got a harder and more road win, which is never easy against an old driver. Frankly, for the Bears, I'm going to talk about Caleb Williams in a second, but Chicago's special teams is an issue. Again, another block kick, and you know, if not for Carlos Sanders kicking that long field goal at the end of regulation, I don't think he's kicking on Thursday, but Chicago's special teams unit is abysmal. I mean, how did they give up consecutive block kicks to the Packers and the Vikings? I mean, Matt Eberflus right now is coaching for his job, and honestly, I want to see Caleb Williams for an offensive mind coach. I think we're seeing 2 or 3 examples of what great coaches do with average or below average quarterbacks. One is Sam Darnold in Minnesota. One is Bo Nix for Sean Payton in Denver. Because frankly, Chicago's got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Um, DJ Moore called 7 passes for over 100 yards. Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Rome Duzé, DeAndre Swift, Roshan Johnson. I know the offensive line hasn't been great this year, but Montez Sweat's a beast. Who's the corner? Johnson? Yeah, I think like Juwan Johnson. Tremaine Edmonds. So hopefully the Bears can get an offensive-minded head coach, but frankly, knowing the Bears like I do, they probably go defensive. Like, how much you want to bet they'll end up with Mike Vrabel? Big Ten coach, and Kevin Warren, of course, knows the Big Ten. But despite the loss, I thought Caleb Williams played phenomenal, moved well, scampering out the pocket, made some big throws. The throw that DJ Moore at the end of regulation was fantastic. And I don't care what Chicago's record is, 4-7. Caleb Williams can play. Caleb Williams is not the problem for the Bears. It's just, can they give him a freaking coach? Because that dude's got a lot of talent. And I think with the Bears, can they get an offensive-minded head coach, develop that O-line, get these wide receivers going? Because where's DJ Moore been for most of this year? Keenan Allen, I know, has been around the lineup. Rome Duzé. I think the Bears have got a lot of talent. They just need the right leader. And maybe issues will start coming towards one or a couple. front office personnel guys, but who knows? But in the toughest division in football, the Lions have won 10 games, Minnesota's at 9, Green Bay's at 8. Um, that's a lot of wins. It's 27 wins. 27 and 6 record. Mm, yeah, so gonna be fascinating to see what happens there. Speaking of NFC North, how about the Detroit Lions going on the road and beating the Indianapolis Colts 24-6 in a game I thought the Indianapolis Colts would win because Detroit can't play that well after being my Jags 52-6. But frankly, with the Lions, I don't remember teams that can physically dominate games. Teams can win. I mean, Kansas City's won games, but Detroit, despite having injuries, can physically dominate games. And that backfield is unbelievable. I mean, Monty is a very difficult running back to tackle. And then how about Jameer Gibbs? I mean, making moves. I mean, it's like one's the hammer, and then Jameer Gibbs running around like he's like he's prime Barry Sanders. And both of them combined for 3 touchdowns. So Detroit doing what the Lions do better than anyone: run the ball. And then Jared Goff, another efficient afternoon, 26 to 36, 269. Didn't throw a touchdown, but didn't need more. I mean, I know Lion fans a little worried about Amon-Ra's knee. Hopefully he's just precautionary because I want to see him play on Thanksgiving. I know Khalif Raymond's banged up a little bit. But defensively, this line team is fast. Fast. I mean, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch. I mean, they've got guys everywhere. Maybe the key to this team now is Aleem McNeil, the big defensive tackle. Without Aiden Hutchinson, McNeil now becomes that great defensive line enforcer for the Lions. So get him going. Detroit might not have the pass rusher, but it's a very team-oriented defense. And be honest with you, I think both of Detroit's coordinators are going to be hot commodities this offseason. And for the Colts, after a great response against the Jets, it laid an egg. I mean, Anthony Richardson was not good, 11-28. The Colts could not really establish their running game. I mean, yeah, Pittman caught 6 for 96. 6, but the Colts were 3 of 12 on third down, and frankly, didn't have the ball. I mean, Detroit ran the ball, controlled the ball for 37 minutes. Indianapolis only got 23. So, not seeing the ball and just way too many penalties, just not a great execution for Indianapolis, whether running, throwing, or defense. A game that thankfully Detroit is into firm control and never look back. Never look back. So Detroit 10-1, quick turnaround to play the Bears. Luckily for them, Chicago played an overtime game, so we'll see if the Bears are a little fatigued. Um, with the Bucks Giant game, you don't really see a lot of NFL teams quit. But frankly, I believe the New York Giants quit yesterday. I mean, they saw Daniel Jones get cut. Saquon, of course, in Philadelphia. this team has given up. Malik Neighbors, the giant rookie receiver's pissed. He's seeing what's happened. And, I'm not sure why Drew Lock isn't starting. Because to me, a few teams, Seattle among them, wanted Drew Lock back. And yet the Giants are starting Tommy DeVito, and he's bad. It's just bad. Tampa won the game 30-7. They probably could have won it more if they had tried. But, Baker making plays. That one touchdown when Baker's like flying to the end zone. If you played a Tampa running back yesterday, you won because they all scored. Even Baker scored on the ground. Bucky Irvin was fantastic. 151 total yards, 6 receptions, 56 yarders. And Giants offensively were abysmal. Only 200 something yards offensively. DeVito only threw for $189. It was just an embarrassing game. I hope Brian Dable doesn't get fired. But this team's going nowhere. Heck, who knows what's going to happen on Thanksgiving. But the Giants have to get a quarterback in this draft. Otherwise, and even then, there's a chance the head coach and GM are both gone. Because the Giants screwed up the Saquon Barkley deal. They let him walk. They gave Daniel Jones the money. And then cut Daniel Jones. And then Giant fans have to be scratching their head thinking, why do we let our best player go to our arch rival? That makes sense. Right? So New York's 2-9. Heck, the Giants on play for the number 1 pick with the Jags, Titans, few other teams, Raiders. So Tampa 5-6, much needed win. Keeps them in the NFC South race, and who knows what happens in that wonky division. Now, speaking of winning, nobody wins one-score games better than the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Kansas City has won, 8 one-score games this year. But I'll talk about the Chiefs. Despite the loss, I thought Bryce Young played really well against the champs. Carolina's 3-8, but I see a lot of improvement for Bryce Young. 21-35, 263, touchdown to David Moore. And it's not like he had a lot. David Moore was Carolina's leading receiver, 6 for 81. And Thielen caught 3 balls. But not a lot. Thankfully, John Brooks played a little bit yesterday. Not much, but hopefully we'll see more of him soon. I don't think Carolina really needs a quarterback, although in this 2025 draft class doesn't look great. Unless you want Stuart Sanders, Shane Milroe, maybe Cam Ward, but I'm not sure any of those guys. Just Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix, or Jane Daniels. And for the Chiefs, another win, another close game, another win. They always seem to win these close games. Mahomes, 27-37, 269, 3 scores. And just like the Chiefs all, great late in the game. Did anybody see that play where he's running for a first down? My goodness. You might not see Mahomes rush early, but he will get that key first down late in the game. And for the Chiefs, what's with Noah Gray catching all these touchdowns? He's got 4 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Somebody stop 83, not just 87. But are the Chiefs going to pay for not necessarily having a number 1 receiver, or maybe a number 1 receiver in the in his prime. Perhaps. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins caught 5 for 35 and a touchdown. Xavier Worthy caught 4. Travis Kelce caught 6. Kareem Hunt, Justin Watson. I mean, Kansas City does enough. I mean, they ran the ball for 165 yards. But defensively, the Chiefs haven't been quite the same, dealing with a couple injuries, committing a few penalties. I mean, there were a lot of penalties in that Kansas City Carolina game. 19 penalties, no turnovers. I mean, Kansas City was great in the key situation. Third down. Both teams struggled a little bit in the red zone. The Chiefs ran the ball just well enough to get the win. So I know Kansas City's 5-1. They're heading back home for the game on Black Friday. There are still issues with this Chiefs team, and will Isaiah Pacheco's return help? Maybe if they get Marquise Brown or Rasheed Rice healthy if they come back. We'll see. But Kansas City wins, and on they go. I mean, could Kansas City win a third straight Super Bowl? I'm never going to doubt that coach, that quarterback. But if they end up playing Philly or Kansas or Detroit in the NFC and in a Super Bowl, things could get interesting. Maybe the biggest surprise yesterday was Tennessee beating the Houston Texans 32-27. Every week there's a game that surprised you, and I think this game was that surprise. I mean, Will Levis won the game and he was sacked 8 times. That's it's not supposed to happen, but I give it up to Tennessee. I thought Will Levis, despite a pick 6, played really well. I mean, 18-24, 278. Tony Pollard ran the ball for nearly 120 yards. Calvin Ridley caught 5 passes. Chika Kwanjo, where have you been? Caught a big 70-yard touchdown. But I'm liking more. I mean, Will Levis is always going to make mistakes. After all, he looks like. I mean, if anybody's seen those old World's Strongest Man days where the late John Paul Sigmason, Jeff Caves, Magnus from Madison, Will Levis looks like he should be doing the Atlas Stones. But there's a lot I like about him. I mean, Will Levis still needs to mature a little bit, but coming along. But there were issues with Houston. I mean, what has happened to CJ Stroud not really playing very efficient football under duress. CJ Stroud's has thrown for 14 touchdowns, but 9 interceptions. After last year, where it was 23, his touchdown interception ratio was 23-5. So, I mean, for one, CJ Stroud's under more duress. The Texans failed to provide Stroud an adequate offensive line. Wasn't great last year, and it's much more consistent. And secondly, Houston's biggest move this offseason was getting Steph Diggs. Well, he's gone. Nico Collins has been in on the lineup. Tank Dell's coming back from broken legs. So Houston's receiving core hasn't been the same. And I don't know if D'Amico Ryan's necessarily great with development or lines. I mean, we've seen Mike Tomlin struggle with that in Pittsburgh. And then, of course, CJ Stroud doing his best Dan Orlovsky impersonation, running out of bounds with safety. But And then, of course, Ka'imi Fairbairn missing a 27, 28-yard field goal to tie it up. But congrats to the Titans. And actually, that win could be big for the Jags because Jacksonville could end up with the number one pick with Tennessee winning yesterday. And then, did anybody see the wild fourth quarter or the last 3, 4 minutes in the Washington Dallas game where seemingly everybody scored? I mean, it was going into the fourth quarter. Dallas led Washington 10-9 and then 41 points. And I think most of that came in like the last half. Yeah. Brandon Aubrey kicking a field goal, Luke Schoonmaker, Zach Ertz catching a touchdown. Then Cavante Turpin. I mean, if anybody's played PS4, PS5, or Xbox, you've seen a spin move where Cavante Turpin not only hit the spin move, hit the speed boost, and went to the house. Get a 99-yard kickoff return, which frankly looked like the game was over, with Dallas up 10 late. As Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. Then Jane Daniels throwing a long touchdown to Terry McLaurin. In fact, looking back on it, some people thinking, why didn't Dan Quinn go for two, kick the extra point? Except Austin Seibert missed it. So then Washington went onside kick again. And Shania Thomas returned at 43 yards for a touchdown. Game over. Washington special teams disaster. I hope the Commanders head coach got a little more, got more money in the stock market because he might need it. So the Cowboys winning. Not sure the Cowboy fans have seen one win even against an old rival, but they won nonetheless. And for the Commanders, I don't know what it is. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury's teams always struggle late in the year. I think teams figured out Daniels. Maybe the Commanders are paying for having a Week 14 bye, but hopefully the Commanders get it together at Tennessee at home this weekend. So good opportunity to get the stench out of that loss. And then how about Miami? We see one or two teams come on strong late in the year after a tough start. Last year, you could argue was the Rams. This year, the Dolphins look like that team. Miami keeps on winning. They beat New England 34-15. Tua has played phenomenally. I mean, he threw for 317 yards, 4 touchdowns. Devon Achane looks like a star in the making. Couple more touchdowns. Jalen Water, where have you been for me lately? Finally showed up. 8 for 144. John Smith. Tyreek Hill. Not sure if Tyreek Hill ever be himself this year with that wrist injury. But I love a lot of what I'm seeing. And then defensively, Chop Robinson was a beast yesterday. Sack and a half. Blocking passes, making plays, stopping the other Drake May. Yeah. I mean, other than one or two moments late, I thought Miami played really well. I don't think the final score was even this close. And for New England, disappointment for Drake May, but the offensive game plan really didn't work. Drake May under duress, never really got in a rhythm. The Patriots' run game was a disaster. Not sure why Ramondre Stevenson didn't see more of the field. Maybe New England's coaches forgot to play. I mean, Didn't make that Drake May didn't make that 38-yard touchdown to Austin Hooper, but nobody really got open. Was Jalen Polk would play more. Pop Douglas, Hunter Henry. I mean, it was just a quiet afternoon for New England's offense. I mean, Christian Gonzalez did have that scoop and score late, but it was a frustrating game if you were a Patriot fan. And then to the late afternoon games, Denver and the Raiders. I think with the Broncos, we have seen what a Hall of Fame coach does. Because the Broncos, talent-wise, don't look like a 7-5 team. But they do with Sean Payton. And with Bo Nix, I think we've seen what 61 college stars does to a quarterback. And with Bo Nix, he's matured well beyond his years. And despite seeing a lot of him at Oregon and Auburn, I think Bo Nix's zone is better than we give it credit for. I mean, making plays. I mean, Denver's offense might not have, a Randy Moss, Justin Jefferson. Portland Sutton's a really underrated wide receiver. Caught 8 for 97. You played him a catch like I did, you probably won. Devon Vale, Marvin Mims. Broncos didn't have a great rushing output, but defensively, it's really harassed Las Vegas's quarterbacks. Sacked them 5 times. And Will Lutz, he does better than most, kick 5 field goals. And for the Raiders, I think they've got a quarterback problem because now Minshew's out for the year. Playing on a short week now, so Aidan O'Connell could be back. I mean, the last time the Ravens played the Chiefs and they were heading on a holiday, they won. Maybe they do it again on Black Friday, but the Raiders might still be paying for keeping Antonio Pierce because the running game non-existent. I mean, Jacoby Myers caught 10 passes, but Brock Bowers, 10 targets, but only caught 4 passes. So, frankly, a disappointing afternoon. Desmond Ridder replaced Minshew. The Raiders threw the ball 53 times and ran only 16. Not going to win too many games with a 3-to-1 pass run ratio. In a couple of games. Anybody want to win the NFC West? Seattle beating Arizona 16-6. It's always raining in Seattle, right? But, frankly, I'm a little disappointed. I'm very disappointed with Kyler and the Cardinals. Through batted and pick 6 to Kobe Bryant. I thought Arizona could have won this game coming off a bye, and they laid an egg. Kyler under duress, sacked 5 times, not really establishing anything. Trey McBride caught 12 passes, but the Cardinal running game, nothing. Kyler, bad. Just one of them games. And from Seattle, neither team really got the running game going. Gino wasn't really any better. Jackson Smith and Jake were the only wide receiver on the field, 677 and a touchdown. In a good old NFC West game. Seattle's 6-5, leading the division. It went from last to first because nobody else in the NFC West won. And last but not least, the Green Bay Packers beat what's left of the 49ers 38-10. And I know somebody will ask me, should the 49ers get rid of Kyle Shanahan? No, because if that happens, Kyle Shanahan will be unemployed for about a minute and a half. The 49ers need some changes. Whether that's involved the quarterback, who knows? But I'm not sure why the 49ers took Ricky Pearsall and then kept and re-signed Brandon Ayuk. They should have, if the 49ers were going to trade Brandon Ayuk, they were going to take a wide receiver, they should have traded Ayuk or potentially take a tackle in the draft and then give Brandon Ayuk the contract. They can't do both. And secondly, this team's gotten old. I mean, Trent Williams is not what he was. I mean, who knows that age or missing entirety of camp. I mean, Christian McCaffrey doesn't really look like himself. Oh, Kittle's looking great. Jawan Jennings, I mean, Debo's not really playing great, but and then, of course, defensively, Nick Bosa missed yesterday's game, so 49ers really not looking like themselves. And maybe we've seen the best of this 49er team. And I did say before the year San Francisco would miss the playoffs. The 49ers don't look like a playoff team. I think we can all say. And then for the Packers, Josh Jacobs really looks like a Green Bay Packer running back. 26, 106, 3 touchdowns. And we might not be big gains, but who cares? He got 3 touchdowns. And good news for Packer fans, Jordan Love didn't throw a pick yesterday. I mean, he didn't throw the ball much. I mean, Green Bay only threw the ball 23 times, ran the ball well. Romeo Dom, Suckercraft, and Malik Heath caught touchdowns, but it was Green Bay's dominant running game and defense controlling the game. Of course, Brock Purdy didn't play, so Brandon Allen himself wasn't 100% making play. It started and really never stood a chance. So, is this it for the 49ers? Who knows? I mean, they've got a very difficult game in Buffalo this coming Sunday night. And you look at it for Green Bay, another win. Now they play Miami where it's going to be cold on Thanksgiving night. So maybe the Dolphins should bring hot chocolate with their turkey legs to Lambeau. And then with the Hobo Bowl tonight, can't wait to watch this game. Maybe hopefully the Ravens don't get Lamar going because I need Lamar to score like 18 points. I don't need Lamar going off 25 points tonight. So Chargers, stop Lamar Jackson, please. Otherwise, Alex is going to knock me out of our guillotine league. Yeah. The only reason why I have a chance of advancing Saquon Barkley scored 2 70-yard touchdowns last night. But it's going to be an interesting game. Be nice to see the Chargers win a game because seemingly they can't ever beat the Ravens in LA. So we'll see what happens. Should be a fun one tonight. So thanks for tuning to my Week 12 recap stream and the Big D answering the biggest question of the night. Is Saquon Barkley the MVP of the National Football League?